Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Television, Radio, and Podcast Talk Show. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 2 p.m. on the Eastern Time Zone. As I get to ride home with you in the afternoon, it's always so much fun. Sarah likes riding home with you in the afternoons, too. Now, you can find us many different ways. You can find us syndicated on Abundance Television, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget the podcast on thenewscasters.com. Back in Alabama, close to the Talladega Speedway, you can find us on channel 182 on Charter Communications. You can also find us on the biggest country radio station in South Carolina. That's WZLA Radio. Make sure to listen to Benji and Lacey in the morning. It's a brother and sister. And sometimes they get into this little civil rivalry thing going on, but then most of the time it's so much fun. And it's all about the local, the regional, and also the national area. So again, thank you so much for taking care of that station as well. Continue sending email, Donna@donnasedge.com, Donna@donnasedge.com. I have a very remarkable lady with me right now. Her name is Sarah Talker, and we've turned into really quick friends. And I'm just going to tell you, what you're doing is amazing. You're with NASCAR. And so you get to interview all these really neat people. You're into the rush of things. I mean, your adrenaline must be like overload.
Yeah, it's a lot, especially after that race that we just saw. But I'm going to have to say the most notable one was the Focused Health 250, the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race. And the reason why was because that race, it was just so chaotic. I mean, there were 13 cautions, 4 red flags, and there were 2 overtime attempts. And that doesn't typically happen in a race like that.
So why do you think it was like that? I mean, it's not typical of races.
I think a lot of it was attributed to the weather, mostly. But Echo Park Speedway in of itself is it has narrow entry points. The exit lanes are tight. Mid-pack airflow never seems to settle. So, and it behaves like a super speedway, when cars are drafting, even though it's necessarily not one. It has a 52-foot entry point, and 38-foot exits. So, it's going to force the cars to be in a tight space. And the lanes are unforgiving. I mean, that goes without saying. So, and a lot of the restart compressions in that, at that track are, result in 3 to 5 rows stacking, and it can happen in as little as 0.4 seconds. So, it was a very big contributing factor to it. And I think that, it shows a lot that there were more recess than actual time on the track. I mean, cautions were coming out as early as lap 3. And it just seemed like a domino effect that continued to just happen, and it outlasted drivers finding a steady rhythm.
How old is that track?
Echo Park Speedway has gone through a number of, it's been around for a while. It has gone through a recent name change. It was Atlanta Motor Speed. And it was given the title of a new name. It's 66 years old.
Okay.
66.
Yeah, well, and then, the way they used to resurface back 66 years ago is kind of different than what they do now. So has it had an overhaul, or has it had an overhaul within the last few years?
They've done resurfacing, but it doesn't like this track. It doesn't matter how many adjustments you make to it. It's just the way that it's designed and laid out is what causes all the chaos. And a lot of the drivers, they did well. Justin Allgaier ended up winning that race. And he was already coming into the race with 3 straight top 10s. And, he protected the bottom on restarts. He, sat back and just surveyed the track to find the calmer lanes. And I think that's what ultimately led to him winning that race. And there were other drivers that did well too, but he just seemed to avoid all the stack ups. There were multi-car stack ups, and one of which they referred to as the big one. It had let me see. I have it written down right here. It's resets 13 cautions. It was just an unstable draft. Let me see. Let me see if I can pull this up really quick. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. But the weather does have an impact on the success of drivers and not success. So is it really hot and sultry there like it was in South Carolina? Has been unbearable.
It's been hot. It's been humid. There have been storm cells that have been that have brought like pop-up thunderstorms, and there's been it's been happening off and on for about a week and a half. So I know the Cup Series race got delayed. It was nearly 2:00 in the morning by the time that race finished because of storm cells that were in the area. And so yeah, definitely, certainly weather played a huge role in that. I'm going to give you some more information on multi-car stack ups though. Let's see.
So what because you travel around a lot. I mean, you've got like an awesome job. So which track in your opinion, would be the easiest track for drivers?
That's a tough one. I don't think any of them are easy, if I'm being honest, because all of them have high and low points to the tracks. But from just watching and from a perspective of, from the outside looking in, I would have to say one of the easier ones would be, I'm going to say, maybe Dover, because that's where drivers seem to be more consistent, like Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch, and they seem to have consistent wins on that track. So I would say that it's easier to find a rhythm on that track.
Because everything's a rhythm, right?
Yeah.
So you're seeing less accidents there, probably less accidents there as well. That
there are a lot, but it's not going to be as frequent as what was seen over the weekend. Like the 11 car crash, for example, which was the big one that I just referred to. And then there were seven cars that were caught up, in a multi-car stack up there.
Oh my! Your heart had to be fluttering when that one happened.
Yeah, it's just like it was like an accordion effect. When you see one and then the other one just kind of comes right after it. That's exactly what happened that day.
I've heard the Talladega Speedway can be pretty confusing.
It can be because it's a super speedway, so it tends to be more difficult. It is it's an unforgiving track. The surface is not kind to tires, so that's a track that is notorious for accidents. And as a matter of fact, almost every race there is a accident that is referred to as the big one.
Every time. Have you found your statistics yet?
Oh, I just mentioned it.
Oh, okay.
The 11 car and the 7 car stack up. Those were the stats.
Okay, so who do you think? Because somebody has to make the wrong turn. Somebody has to make a mistake. Which driver made the mistake to cause that pile up?
Which driver made a mistake? Let's see.
Or was it a combination?
It was a combination. I don't think there was any one driver that really caused it. I just think it was because going into the turns and the exits are so narrow that it's just kind of inevitable when you're racing that many cars in such a tight space. It's gonna happen. It's inevitable. There's just no way around it, really. So and it's just a recipe for disaster. So how
was the crowd reacting to that disaster?
It was, everyone was kind of like on edge. They were on their feet looking and trying to figure out what was going on. But I think everyone knew, based on, like I said, the weather conditions and everything, it makes airflow a little bit harder for drivers to navigate. I mean, you've got humidity. It changes the condition of the surface of the track. And so that's one of the things that drivers always have to navigate. So they don't always have to navigate like the layout of the track and how they draft and how they navigate their strategy, but they also have to keep in mind like weather conditions, because that can definitely change a race to any capacity.
Absolutely. One more question before we go into, can you believe we're almost at the middle of the show? So the big question that a couple of our viewers have had was, and this is a big one too, what actually drew you to NASCAR?
I've always loved NASCAR. My dad and I would watch it when I was 14 years old, and that's every Sunday we would sit in front of our big box television that we had and watch it. And that's when Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Gordon and everyone were, all the classics were racing. And so I've grown up around people who have liked cars. My grandfather liked cars. My dad's always been a huge fan of cars. So it's just kind of a generational thing. And plus, who doesn't want to see a car going at a high rate of speed around a track against other cars? I mean, it's very electric. It gives you a feeling like no other. And we're actually there and you're actually able to see it. It's on a whole other level.
Oh, I bet it is, because you're right in the mix of things.
You're right in the midst of it. You're in the thick of it. So it's definitely something that is really, really unique, and I love it. So,
well, would you say that NASCAR is probably more unpredictable than any other sport? And I'm including college football here.
Absolutely. There's so many factors, like I said, to factor in. Anything can happen. You can't go into a race thinking that something can't happen, because every time you think that, there's always that one race, just like the Focus Health 250, where chaos just completely unfolds.
Okay, I promise this is the last question before we go into the break, and this is really interesting. So of any race, I'm talking the history of races. Maybe you were not even born yet. If you could go back in time, which race would you like to be part of?
Which race would I like to be part of?
There's been some history making in NASCAR throughout the decades.
I would say then I was alive at the time, but I was just a little kid. In the 98 Daytona 500 that Dale Earnhardt won.
I knew you were going to say that one.
Yes, he was my favorite driver. He's not only my favorite driver because he was fast on the track. He was also a very good person. So that also factors into why I have such admiration for him.
It's great. Okay, I promise this time we've got to go into a break so we can pay for this. So we'll be right back in just a few minutes. Everybody hang in there. Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. You know, finding the right home isn't just about bedrooms and square footage. It's about comfort, security, and the feeling you get the moment you walk through the door. That's why so many families across Greenwood and the Lakelands area trust Jenny Ferguson with Keller Williams. And I'll tell you from personal experience, Jenny was my realtor, and she truly cares about her clients. Jenny takes the time to listen, to understand what matters most, and to guide you every step of the way, whether you're buying your first home, upgrading, or ready to sell. Because this isn't just a transaction, it's your life. With local knowledge, personal care, and a commitment to getting it right, Jenny Ferguson makes the process simple and even enjoyable. So if you're thinking about buying or selling, now's the time to make your move. Call Jenny Ferguson with Keller Williams in Greenwood today and take the next step toward a place you'll truly love coming home to.
Lowe's knows that the projects you build in spring are the ones you can't wait to share. It's why we make sure you have our best deals with My Lowe's Rewards, and that you get help from people who've
been there,
done that.
Try this.
This spring, we'll help you build something rewarding.
Hey, Stan.
What's up?
I made you something.
Oh, thank you.
And I got something for you. You grew these?
Of course.
Lowe's knows how to help you spring.
Good afternoon. We are back. I'm back with Sarah Talker, and you got like a dream job, girl. This is with NASCAR. And you know, the races actually started a long, long time ago. And I'm hearing like, you know, now Alabama people want to say it started in Alabama. Georgia people go, no, it started in Georgia. I've even heard Kentucky people say, no, it all started here. What is the real history? When did NASCAR start?
I started in North Carolina. If you look at drivers like Ralph Moody, he was one of the ones that was a big contributor to NASCAR's start, and it started in 1948. That's when it started, and Bill France Sr. Organized a meeting at the Streamline Hotel in Daytona to discuss plans for the proposal for the for NASCAR as an organization, and it ran its first race on February 15th, 1948 at Daytona Beach, and that was a road course.
Mm-hmm. And the thing about NASCAR is it attracts everybody from every social presence. I mean, everybody watches it. I mean, whether it's actually there in person or on television. But I'm going to tell you what, it really can. In Talladega, this is close to where we used to live in Oxford, Alabama. I'm just telling you what, nobody went to church on that day. Well, a few of us did. But I'm just talking about I-20 right there where the Talladega Speedway is. You could always count on it being really crowded. So I had to take my husband to the airport one time for a business trip. And we allowed an hour. We thought an hour would do it. Not enough time. We really should have allowed it 2 extra hours to get to the Birmingham airport. But I'm just going to tell you, it's huge. And it's a big money maker for the communities, not just Talladega, but surrounding communities as well. People will come and stay in hotels an hour away from the Talladega Speedway. Mm-hmm. That's how popular it is there. I know it is everywhere else.
That when I went to Dallas this year in May, I noticed that when I flew in, there were so many people in the airport, and it was just congested, and there was people everywhere. And when I flew back home, it wasn't that way. So it just kind of gives you an idea of what NASCAR brings to communities. It brings people together. It adds value to the economy of the where the track is at, and so NASCAR is huge. It's a very big, and it's going to continue to grow.
What is something about NASCAR that people don't? It's just something that that not many of us people know about. What would be a good surprise?
That it's a huge family unit. If you're part of NASCAR, and if you're involved in it in any way, whether you're a journalist, whether you're a driver, whether you're part of the crew, you are a member of a large family. So it's very welcoming, and they make you feel like you belong. And they treat you as if you were like a brother, sister. I mean, it's amazing, because you don't find that too often with many organizations, but NASCAR is definitely built around that. And I think that is what keeps people coming back. So if you've never been to a race before, it might be a good thing to try it out, because you'll see a huge just camaraderie of people, and it creates friendships, it creates partnerships, it just unfolds in ways you could never imagine.
It's a good way to be part of something, because I think we're in a world now, everybody wants to feel like they're part of something. But I've heard fans say that, well, I actually felt like I was part of the race team.
They do.
Everybody,
that's exactly how they make you feel. So if you have like a season pass and you go to NASCAR, and then you may not necessarily be expecting to run into any of the crew, but if you do, they're going to make you feel like you're their best friend. That's exactly how that works, because they see the value that it brings to the sport, and that's what the sport was built around when Bill France had that idea in 1947. So I think, and it's never died, and it's going to just continue to grow and be and bring more people in.
Let's talk about the behind the scenes stuff. I mean, something as simple as changing a tire, which happens often during a race. What's involved with that?
Oh, they have to. It happens in a split second. If you're standing on pit road and you see one of those cars come by for a pit stop and they stop, you see all these people. They rush to the car, they change all the tires, and then they're gone. And you don't even realize how quickly it happens until you're there and you're able to see it right in front of your eyes. I was so amazed by that the first time that I saw it live. But they have to train for that. They have to, be physically fit to be able to do that, because those tires are very heavy. And they also do pit crew challenges to help them, keep up with all of that. So it's a very extensive process. And I think it's cool. I don't think I could do it personally, but
I wouldn't be able
my
to.
hats go off to the people that do it, because it's just incredible to watch.
What's something else that happens behind the scenes that's really important that must happen?
What for me as a journalist, it was just getting to meet and talk to the other journalists, apart from the drivers, which are, obviously the bigger picture of because they're what makes NASCAR. But talking to the other journalists and getting to know how they got into doing this and learning their stories and where they came from, that is huge, because within that media center, you create a community that is also like a family. You support each other, you help each other in any way that you can. So for me, that's that's one of the things that I think people don't realize goes on behind the scenes, and all of the stuff that leads up to doing that, all the preparation, like before you go to a race, you have to sit and write down all the stuff that, questions, and you write down all the stats and facts so that you could have them right there in front of you, so that you can, just ask questions, just like one right after another. You have to be quick on your feet when you do it. And so for me, that's one of the things that I think people don't realize, the preparation and all of the hard work that actually goes into interviewing these drivers and putting their faces out there, and bringing awareness to the sport. So
Well, what about the maintenance of a vehicle? Is that all the responsibility for the driver, or is that part of NASCAR?
It would be part of the team and the crew. They take care of all of that, and they do post race inspections, pre-race inspections. They make sure that every inch of the car is as it should be. Because post-race inspections, they have to inspect it to make sure, and if the car doesn't pass, then it can have consequences. Penalties can be issued. They might be pushed down if there's a certain part of the car that doesn't pass the inspection, like in Daytona with Parker Kligerman. The rear of his truck was a little too far, so that he was booted out of that spot. He was initially the race winner, but he didn't end up winning that race because of the way that the car was mishandled. But so they have to make sure that everything is just so, otherwise it can mean it can result in bad things like that happening.
Like safety issues. I mean, you got to make sure.
Yeah, you got to make sure
correct.
everything. There cannot be one part of that race car that is not combed over before a race. It has to make sure. They have to make sure every inch of it is in tip-top shape, because they do not want the driver to run into any issues on the track. And of course, nothing can be 100% perfect. There are instances where drivers run into engine issues, and they have to have the car assessed, and it they can, or sometimes even when they run into major issues like that, they can't even finish the race. So but I think a lot of that is a lot of the drain and a lot of the pull on the engine that when you're going at 200 miles an hour around a racetrack, that's definitely going to have some effect on the car.
Oh, yeah.
So
absolutely it is. And then you have to think about the safety of the spectators as well.
Yeah,
making them stay inside
that's
the
definitely
fence.
Something that you have to keep in mind. You have to make sure that everyone is safe, and but there are a lot of there catch fences around, and they have everything where if debris were to fly out, it wouldn't go into the grandstands or hit anybody. But there are instances where things happen, like you saw the freak accident with the cart that went rolling, and the one of the crew actually stood in front of it to keep one of the reporters from getting injured, and was hospitalized for that. He's fine now, but it's not just the cars, it's things like that happen, that anything can happen. Like I said before, it's just anything. It's unpredictable. Those things are heavy too.
Oh, I bet. And going at such a gigantic speed is even more so. Sarah, thank you so much for being on the show. Can you believe the show is over? I
mean, I had so much fun. I can't believe it.
It's flown by. It's crazy quick, but just like the speedway, right? Fast.